Hey everyone, today we're talking to Viggo Fredriksson, who is a 15-year-old creator on X and YouTube and has grown his following to over 5,500 people on X in just 6 months, I believe. He teaches about personal brand, productivity, and business if you're looking for insights into how he got started, his process for creating viral content, and much more, then be sure to stick around. So if it's okay with you, Viggo, we're going to split this call into three main parts. So first,
Mhm.
just getting to know you, your background, and then we'll get into more of the tactics that you use for mindset, content creation, and running your personal brand. And then we'll finish up with some practical advice on getting started and some of your routines and habits so that others can achieve success like yours.
All right. Yeah. Sounds awesome.
Perfect. So at just 15, you're already making waves in business and self-improvement. I'm sure you're busy with school and just life in general. I know I am. I'm a little older than you. So, what motivated you to begin this journey?
All right. It's probably because my parents are both pretty entrepreneurial. And my dad's been like an entrepreneur since he was like 16. He started working at a steel company and started up, and became like the top at that firm. And so I've gotten that from my parents, like both being pretty ambitious, working pretty hard. Um, but yeah, it like starting a business, just it's just been a calling really for me. Like I haven't like sat down ever and thought, okay, I'm gonna do business, or I've never seen like a YouTube video and thought, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna find a profitable niche and do that. It just kind of just fell into place for me. I just found entrepreneurship. I always do things that I think is fun. And so at 9 I started a YouTube channel, 11 I started a podcast, and now I'm here on Twitter making content that I'm trying to, yeah, monetize and build a business here.
That's awesome. Yeah. I can definitely relate to the parent part of that because my mom is definitely more entrepreneurial minded. She started a little bit later, but that's kind of what catapulted me into this industry as well. Kind of just wanted to create a personal brand and just teach and write about what I'm passionate about. So I think it's super awesome that we're probably getting started around the same time. You're definitely earlier than me. I think I probably began last year, something like that, and I just started on X. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, X is a
So
good choice.
yeah, were there any reservations or doubts that you had at the start?
I mean, since I never really thought about this being a business until pretty lately, I wouldn't say I've had any doubts because like I basically just did this for fun. I didn't really care if my post did badly. Of course, I wanted to perform good, but I did it because it was fun and I didn't really care about making money. So when something went bad, it was like just like, okay, I'm doing it for the fun of it. So why does it really matter? It doesn't really matter at all. So yeah, I just kept going. So but I would say like the doubts that been stopping me the most is probably like not having support from friends at all. Since like being 15 and business and making money and taking life seriously really is pretty not normal for people my age at all. So when you're doing something like yeah, writing things on Twitter, trying to start a business, like trying to help other people like I am, it looks really weird for someone that's 15 and never been even like almost introduced to the concept of a business at all. So just this day when I was on my way home from yeah, the trip in Denmark, my friends like went through my account laughing basically. But it's, you know,
Mhm.
it's that kind of thing. Like they don't really understand it, and so I can't blame them. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For me too, I think I definitely had friends that were into the same thing, but I most of them were kind of like on the hesitant side. They're definitely more like the college crowd, so they follow the predetermined route, go work a 9 to 5, and that's kind of their thing. So when they heard about what I was trying to do, I definitely got some like weird responses to it. So I totally understand where it's coming from in that regard. Do you
yeah,
go to traditional school?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I went to traditional school all my life. We have a weird system in Sweden. So at 15, I just like graduated high school. So we stop at ninth grade, we stop high school, and then I'm going to this middle thing from high school to university.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I used to be in like the traditional system here in the US, which is from ninth to 12th grade. And then I ended up leaving and going to like a non-traditional type school so I can work on my own schedule and I'm
Nice.
online.
Yeah, dude, I wish.
Okay, so next part. So I wanted to get a little bit into your content creation process. I know that you write, I think you've written something like 15,000 posts since your time on Twitter.
But I mean,
So
most
what
of
is
them are
that? Mhm.
comments. But yeah.
I see. Okay. So what does that look like on a day-to-day for you? How do you plan out like what you're gonna write or just your
Yeah,
content process?
I wish I could say this is super systemized right now, but I used to have a big system which made it super easy for me to just like write a bunch of posts at one time. When I had that, it was just using like Hype Fury, I think it was called. Yeah, Hype Fury, and just writing out like 21 posts in like one time, and that's posts a day. I used to do that, but right now I basically just whenever I find a quote or I find like just get an idea, I would maybe like write it down in my notes app on my iPhone. And I also have like a Google Drive folder where I have a bunch of pictures, because in all my posts I like to have pictures because I want people to first remember my face because I'm building a personal brand, and second, pictures make posts perform better on Twitter. So I have this large
Mhm.
folder of pictures, and I would just maybe like take a quote or take an idea, or even I could either broaden out on it, make it like a longer post, or I would just do a short quote with a picture. They usually perform pretty well. So right now it's not really systemized, but I'm moving into daily to 4 threads a week, something like that. And now as I'm going into YouTube because I want to make my threads into YouTube ideas, kind of, which I can then broaden out to. And then I also
Mhm.
got the news there, of course.
That's awesome. So the newsletter, how often do you put out those?
So I just had a pivot in the newsletter, but I used to do like newsletters when I wasn't really serious about newsletters until pretty recently. I just like posted a newsletter when I basically felt like it, and
Mhm.
that really didn't help me get a such a steady flow of like a diehard fan base, and it didn't really help me sell my products at all. So now as I'm like building a 12-week program, like my like I haven't come up with a name for it yet, but it's gonna be a 12-week program like helping entrepreneurs and founders and the creators like build a massive audience on Twitter. And as I'm building that, my mentors advised me to start doing the newsletter. So I tried to come up with a more unique approach to this newsletter because I am pretty tired of like the normal style of newsletters, just sending daily emails that have zero value. I absolutely hate those kind of emails. So I'm trying to do something special here, that I'm not even like writing my emails anymore. It's just gonna be a video of me like showing the behind the scenes of my business, what I'm building, and how people can like do basically the same thing as I'm doing, like threads or custom research. Just this really behind the scenes kind of things. Basically, that's what I do on the
Mhm.
newsletter once a week.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember when I first stumbled across your account on Twitter, that's one of the things that I really appreciated about you. I think most creators are kind of like at the top already, at least the popular ones. And so their audience struggles to relate to the hard side of, the rocky cutscene type years. So the fact that you're just open about that and honest about it, I think is going to be super helpful to people. And honestly, one of the reasons why I was attracted to you and your content in the first place. So super respectable for that.
Wonderful to hear.
Yeah. What about how you balance life and content creation? So, you have school and I'm sure other activities with your family and stuff is like that. So, do you have a time management type routine or in terms of, I'm sure you're busy with your content, all that you just listed out. So,
Yeah, I do.
mhm.
I just stopped. I just not finished school, but I'm just went into summer break. But for the system I did when I was in school, and when I actually was balancing school and work and content and all that kind of things, it became pretty stressful at times. I actually got pretty close to burning out at one point. But I decided to like take a 2-week break and just design my schedule, design my vision of what I want in life and that kind of things. Just
Mhm.
basically rethinking everything. And so what I did is I just decided to split up my day into, I think it was yeah, exactly, like 4 parts. And I had to also like rethink different things. I actually quit football for this because football was taking up too much time, and I've never really been too good at football. I was pretty bad at it ever since I was a child. So I stopped football and actually decided to instead do running, because running is something I feel I'm more talented on, and I also like running much more.
Mhm.
So I had to like kill off some kind of things that I didn't want in my life that took up way too much time, like football. And I actually don't spend as much time with my in real life friends because number one, they are pretty unsupportive of what I'm doing here, like being business and building my future. But also since like yeah, we don't hang out that much at all normally. So I have to like cut down on things I do in my outside life. I still think it's really important to like have an outside life, like actually talk with friends. So I'd still like take down maybe 3 to 4 hours every week on friends and hanging out and like and obviously we have school every day, so I hang with them like 8 hours a day. And so for managing work, I used to wake up at like a normal time. I used to wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning, like brush my teeth, actually work on the business for as long as I possibly can without any distractions. Like I don't have any super advanced productivity routine. I'm building that now for the summer since I got full control of my time right now. Now it's the summer, but before I didn't really have any advanced routine. It was just like morning, school, friends, gym, social life things, work. And I am just trying to be as efficient as humanly possible with my work. I should show you, but I can't. It might not work if I move the camera. But on my wall, I have like a whiteboard, like whiteboard with a sticky back. So I just put that on my like door, and I can say like to do on today says the 16th June, and so and I have like 3 things I need to do today, which is clean my room, record in and batch record 3 newsletters for the next 3 coming weeks, and do a YouTube planning for the next coming videos. So that's what I'm doing today. And so I just do that like a short, like 3 bullet to-do list, and that's what I do in my work blocks.
Yeah. I think the simpler the process, the more sustainable. So like you said, there's nothing like super crazy. You have to time block every single hour of every day. I think if you have like the general things planned out that you want to do, that's probably going to be better in the long run. At least that's what I found for myself.
Yeah, especially when you're like younger. Like your schedule is not gonna be set. Like for example, we moved this call forward because like my mom did finish dinner a little later than I thought. No, a little bit earlier than I thought she would. So I had to like reschedule the call because I want to spend time with my family. And so like there's so much things, especially when you're young and you don't really have full control over your time, that just pop up. So you really need to like you can't have this super advanced, super like fancy productivity system. It's not gonna work. It can't be set in stone.
Yeah. I think there's a quote by Alex Hermosi. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but something like simplicity or complexity is the enemy of execution. And when I heard that first, I just thought, wow, that's really true. Because for myself, at least, I used to be like all into managing every single part of my day, and it just got out of control. It was crazy.
I would like sit down and write out like the plan for the next 4 weeks. I'm gonna do this and this and this, and then like a friend that lives far away comes, and you have to like reschedule things, and you like it. You can't plan that hard, and you can't create a plan. It feels like almost productive procrastination doing that kind of planning. It's like it's instead of actually doing the work, you're just planning to do the work, and it doesn't work like that.
For sure. And what you said too about just trimming down most of your activities to the bare essentials and getting really super crystal clear on what you want to do is super important for just maintaining focus and making actual progress. There's a book, I don't know if you're familiar with it, called Essentialism.
Oh, I haven't read that one. I've got and recommended it so many times. I have to read it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm just starting it as well, but he basically talks about how if you divert your attention multiple ways, you're probably going to get a little bit of progress in each one of those areas versus you could be diverting your attention to one path and then make substantial progress. So it's pretty common sense, but I think it's a good reminder for a lot of us, especially in this community. We're often like told to pursue as much as possible, or at least that's kind of like the underlying notion that most people talk about.
Yeah.
And it's good to remember that that's not always the best way to do things.
Absolutely. I feel like time management and just generally progressing in life just becomes so much easier at the moment you just become aware of that you need to do the work. Like so many people is like going by. I see that with so many friends I have. I guess it's more common for me because I'm pretty young. But for basically every single friend, apart from like two people, and that those two are like people I meet online or that lives like 1,000 kilometers away from me. So many people are just not aware. They don't have a schedule. They don't know that they need to strip away these unnecessary things. So I think just you don't really need to have super advanced. You just need to be aware that you need to actually like time manage.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me too, the people that are closest to me, I just notice they're not very aware of themselves and how they spend their time. And that's kind of what motivates me to be so much of the opposite. So I'm like always hyper focused on things. But I think if
Yeah,
more people just were self-aware and step back for a moment on what they do day to day and why they do it, and zoom out maybe the next 10 or so years and look at their future, we'd have a society that's so much more clear and less
yeah.
like involved with social media and stuff like that. Just all these distractions.
I mean, like we only get one life, so it's best to just plan and actually do something that makes it worth it.
Exactly. And finding that balance too. Like it's not all just about getting to that end goal, but also
Yeah,
enjoying the journey along the way.
totally.
Awesome. So I believe you started X around 6 months ago. Is that correct?
I think it's 7 or 8. I think it
7.
was like yeah, early or late, early to late in November, something like that.
Okay,
So yeah, something like that.
cool. So when did your posts start picking up traction? And were there any strategies that you found worked better or not so good for
I mean, like,
getting
I
more?
would say I probably had like two waves of
Mhm.
picking up speed. I have one like when I started going quickly at like I think January. So it was a couple months after I started when I actually started seeing like results. I think I grew to like 700 followers at that point. And so it felt really big, but it really wasn't. But it felt really big at that time. But I think the other time that it's been blowing up recently, it's actually like just 2 months ago that I really started picking up speed. If you look at my graph, my like growth graph, it's so weird. Like it's been going like this for like my entire journey, but like a 1.5 month or something like that, it's just been going right up. And it's
Mhm.
because I started like innovating. I started working harder, and it was after my like 2 week break that I said after I nearly burned out, where I took a step back, actually started like looking back at yeah, I only get one try at getting this young as I am right now, and have this huge opportunity that I am aware that I can improve my life at this age I am. So I really need to make the most out of it. So I stepped back and look, what can I do to actually achieve these goals? And I started, okay, I need to analyze threads because threads is a massive opportunity on Twitter like that right now. To start a program and to get mentors, like all this like checklist things I need to do, and I took a step back and just actually dialed that in.
Mhm. Awesome. So do you think that the threads, or at least the introduction of the threads, and when you started focusing on that more, was having to do with your growth, your major growth within the past
Definitely,
couple months?
definitely. Threads
Okay.
is a huge opportunity right now. I think that what so many creators are doing wrong is that they're focusing only on their core audience. I talk a lot about building a relationship based audience, which is amazing. You should definitely do that. You should definitely focus more on your core audience, on the people who are already part of your audience, who already like care about you. But I think that it's also essential to find new people. And with normal posts on Twitter, you're just not going to do that. And I think that Threads is basically the only opportunity that you have to do that. I've seen like I know giveaways can do that too, but there's nothing else that does that as well as Threads does. So as I'm building my program, I am having like 3 out of 12 masterclasses only on Threads. So that's like yeah, that's a huge part of the program because Threads are just huge for extending your reach and actually finding new people. I know my audience has grown like 2K followers just from Threads alone.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, Crutch is so powerful.
Mhm. That's actually good to know for me too, because I just started on X and I nenever really knew what Threads was, but I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah,
And
look into that. They are
Mhm.
amazing, especially when you're a small creator. My friend Christian, another 15-year-old, he ghostwrote a thread for his dad actually, helping him grow his account. And his account went from 0 followers to 1.6 in 24 hours. 1.6K
Wow.
in 24 hours. because yeah, that thread was just amazing. So it helped him like absolutely explode his founders.
Mm. If you were to average out how many posts you're making a day, what would you say that is?
Right now, it's actually just one.
Just
But
one. Okay.
yeah, since I'm more focused on building my program, I'm more focused on branching out to things like YouTube and building up my newsletter. And so I just have like a shit ton of posts just drafted out in my Twitter drafts that I can post at any time, basically. So that's super nice to have. I have like over a week, more than a week, almost 2 weeks of content just pumped out, ready to be posted.
Hmm.
And since I'm like, I'm not too focused on Twitter right now, but I think next week or the week after that, I might be moving over to daily threads, depending on what happens. There's some like I might be going away with a trip with my parents because they wanted to go like to a place here in Sweden, but you know, life happens sometimes. And
Yeah.
right now I'm focused on building the program, building my newsletter, and building YouTube.
Yeah. And I think you've gotten to the point on X where you can kind of use it as an avenue to branch out into other
Yeah,
things. Yeah. So that's awesome.
yeah, that's what I'm most focused on right now. Because an X audience is great, but you can get banned at any point. And so I want to move people to other sources like my newsletter or YouTube. So that's what I'm
Hmm.
doing.
Perfect. So, do you have any advice for someone, maybe someone close to your age starting out? And like I know the early days probably were harder for you and it probably took a lot of grinding to get to where you are now. So, are there any main things that helped you get from there to here? And how would you give that as advice?
The most successful kids my age, I know.
Hmm.
I would say like I don't know many, but I know like I would say 2 to 3 other kids my age that I know, like that I've spoken to. Of course, there's some 50-year-old Instagram that's a multi-billionaire right now. But to the kids I know, the most successful ones I know, they don't work on things they don't want to. They're not these like Andrew Tate kids who work on like making money because this bald man told them to. The friends that I know who are really successful, they do it because they love it. They love what you're doing. One friend who's extremely good at football. He's like on track to become the best 15-year-old in on football in Sweden. And I have another 50-year-old kid who's a friend too, Christian. He's on track to grow quickly, also on Twitter, because he loves writing content. And so the kids that I know who are super successful are just the ones that do what they love and are dialed in on becoming great at doing that thing that they love. And not just like following what people tell them to do. Just do whatever they want. And that's how they become successful. So I would say
Yeah.
to the
Mhm.
kids in my age, if they want to be really good at something, they want to become successful or they want to become rich or whatever. Um, and what you love, it could be like reading books and then or whatever really, like riding horses or it doesn't really matter what it is. Just find a way to monetize that thing and just to go all on it and let it consume you. Let it like I saw a thing, a YouTube video I think is what's called "Find Your Passion and Let It Kill You." That's basically what you should do. Find the thing you love and let it absolutely consume you and let it actually like grind on it for your entire
Yeah,
life.
for sure. I think one problem with traditional school for most kids, like around our age, is that it kind of just assigns goals to you
Yeah.
and you kind of have to just go along with it. But most kids don't realize that they already have a lot of passions that are monetizable. They're just never taught how to do it. And
Yeah.
so if they dial in on it, like you said, they can create a lifelong career that they not only enjoy, but they could help other people just like them find their passion and just create something sustainable, a
Yeah.
business.
Like making content since I was 9. Like that's been my passion my all my life. And that's why I'm here on Twitter because I just love making content. And that's what everyone should do. Follow your passion and make it monetizable.
Great advice. Okay, so what are some key lessons you learned about productivity and or self-improvement that you think is crucial for others to know?
I would say in productivity and self-improvement, I would say the biggest lesson I've ever learned is that quality is actually better than quantity. You shouldn't care about not quantity, but it should be better that it's effective than being fancy. That's maybe a better way to put it. Like like we talked about before, you shouldn't make a super fancy like time blocked schedule where every minute of your day is scheduled out and you have it planned on how you're gonna achieve your 90-day goals by working 20 hours a day. That just doesn't work, and it's not sustainable at all. And so I think in productivity, and it's just you need to be effective what you're doing and actually focus on the work instead of the planning. That's one thing that has impacted me the most, since I used to be a planning master, planning procrastinator, whatever you want to call it. I just plan and not do the action of a part of it and actually
Mhm.
execute.
Yeah, I think it's a huge fallacy for productivity nerds and people in general in
Yeah,
this space. It's like they think that to be productive, they have to plan out everything and just make every second of their day the most effective as possible. But it's funny because the most productive times is when you're actually just doing the work that you're avoiding.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And just and also letting your curiosity like take over. Since
Mhm.
I was supposed to like plan out the threads I'm going to do for the next week, like a thread planning, just like coming up with ideas and topics for those threads. But instead, I'm like making a YouTube short because I saw a YouTube video on someone on YouTube who said like YouTube shorts are fun to make and they're easy to make and they're actually pretty profitable. So I thought that sounded fun, and so I'm doing it. Because if it isn't fun, you likely won't work hard on it, and you likely will find a way to procrastinate
Mhm.
on it. That's the thing I've noticed for myself. Like if I do something, if I don't want to do something, but I still force myself to do it, I will still find some like kind of like excuse. It's like my brain tries to come up with some excuse that I'm not like conscious about. I will like come up with I have to like, oh damn, I have to clean my bed or something because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah, when I'm sitting down to work on something entirely different, I mean coming up with this, they would be productive, but they're not on the task. So I think just find something that's fun, genuinely fun instead.
Mhm. It's kind of like going to the gym. Like, I feel like during New Year's, a lot of people try to pack in their gym time and, like, oh, I'd go for 4 hours today and do this
Yeah,
mega hard workout. But they end up seeing no results because they quit early on. And it's because they're
exactly.
forcing themselves to do something that they really hate. And they're basically taking on the mindset, oh, I have to do this versus I choose to do this. And then you can compare that to someone who does a 5 minute workout every single day and sees small results and small gains, but it stacks up over the long run. And it's because
Yeah,
they're just having fun, over time and doing something that's sustainable. So I think that whole foundation that you have for your content and just your brand in general to have fun and just do what you enjoy is something that a lot of people should take away from this.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Okay, so what are your long-term goals for your brand and just your vision in general? Because I know you're working on a lot of small projects right now. How do you see that all coming together in the long
Right
run?
now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to become. It sounds maybe stupid, but I'm trying to become the best at Twitter growth right now on this entire platform, or at least in this like bubble where it's more like money X, you could call it. I'm trying to
Mhm.
become the best person at growth there. So I've been studying threads, I've been like studying posts, I'm finding post templates that basically always go viral. I'm doing putting in so much work into creating this program that is basically like just a step-by-step program you can follow to actually like explode a brand. And so it's not perfect right now, but I'm building it and I want it to be the best. But that's more like a mid slash long-term plan. I'm guessing this is more like a for the next 1 year or something kind of plan. But for long term, I want to rack up enough money so that I can basically not have to work. It could be like something where I can just have a fund and I can live in a house without having to make any money and I can build a sick project. Like not like what I'm doing now. I wouldn't call, or I guess this is a real business, but I would want to create like a actual business, selling a product more to the customer audience instead of a business to business kind of thing.
Mhm.
um or a serve or like a program, a AI. I know is super big. I want to build like an actual business because right now I'm just selling what I know at this moment, and what I know right now is content. But in the future, I want to build actual businesses. I want to become more of an actual entrepreneur, you could call it. And so right now, I want to build up a big fund of money so I can build bigger businesses
Mhm.
without having to worry about actually taking care of myself with money.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of that, I'm actually kind of on the opposite end. So for me myself, I most of my time is spent on this AI project that I'm working on. So it's kind of like a software as a service. So I'm developing that, and I've wanted to pivot more into content and do more what you're doing, which is kind of just documenting and sharing what you know right now. Because I think that's just going to go to waste if I wait until when I'm already like made it, so to speak. And I just think it's interesting how you're kind of like the opposite. So you want to start more of a product-based business in the long run, more focused to consumers, which is what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. That's really fun. Yeah, you were doing basically the exact thing but inverted. I
Yeah,
think like having a, yeah, it's a good choice to grow your personal brand, because I think that the reason I'm also putting in so much work into this personal brand is because I'm building bigger, more ambitious businesses in the future. Because if I'm like if I was building a business and I was building a account for that business like on Twitter or TikTok or whatever, and I'm going back to maybe like, yeah, let's say 100,000 followers. Once if I sell that business, that audience is gone. I can never get that back because it belongs to the company. But
exactly,
if I'm
exactly.
growing my personal brand and I'm right now talking about Twitter growth and I'm talking about content creation and I'm talking about Twitter or general, um, but if I move on in the future, move on to something else like a business, I still have that audience, and most of them, or at least a part of them, don't follow me just for the Twitter thing. They actually follow me to follow a young person's business journey. So
Mhm.
as I'm moving on to other businesses, I have this audience that hopefully will reach 10K by the end of this year, that I can move on to this other kind of businesses once I evolve as an entrepreneur in the future.
Mhm. I'm curious, do you listen to Dan Co?
I'm no, actually not. I know
Okay.
everyone came to Twitter from Danco, and yeah, I am like the only person who didn't come to Twitter from Danco, I think. But
Okay, that's
I've
really
heard some of his
surprising.
podcasts.
Yeah, that's actually really surprising to me because basically everything that you just said is like the core foundation of what he talks about.
Yeah,
So building a personal brand is just so lucrative and probably the best thing that you can do in the long run because it doesn't matter what business you choose, you can pivot from there and your followers will follow you because they
yeah,
know you and the brand is built off of you, not the business. So super, super smart on your end. And I think what you're doing right now to like staircase up to that level of the consumer type business is going to work out really great for you because you're already building that followers.
yeah. I hope so, at least, since I'm
Yeah.
building such a and trying to build a relation-based audience, which is like, yeah, more actually cares about you and building connection with them, and it doesn't have to be super big, but it is super connected, like a network or a community.
Mhm. And I think that's what people value most nowadays. There's very few creators who are like that.
Yeah, and I love that. I'm seeing so much of that here on Twitter. I haven't seen any other platforms that are as like where the creator is super close to the people actually comment and the people actually DM them. Yeah, I think Twitter is very special in that way. So that's
Mhm.
when I chose Twitter too.
For sure. So for your future business that you were discussing, do you know like what type of products you wanted to start selling?
No, not at all actually.
Okay.
I just know that in the future I want to create consumer, yeah, business to consumer type businesses in the future. But as of
Hmm.
right now, I have no idea. It could be something where I would actually like help maybe be in the same lane of what I'm doing right now, like helping people build brands, where it could be more like a yeah, like a yeah, more corporate type of thing, helping like only entrepreneurs or helping only like people in 9 to 5 jobs, and then helping them like with a course or something like that to build
Hmm.
their personal brand. But I think in the future, it probably would be something like a service or a software, like an AI software. If I get there before it's too saturated, or wait, I guess you shouldn't say saturated, but normal, because everyone's diving into AI now. So I hope I
Yeah.
get to that point where I'm able to build a company in the right time before it's gone.
Yeah, that industry is actually growing so, so fast. Every
Yeah.
single day it's changing. I'm in it like day to day. So if you ever have any questions, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you out. And
Oh hell
maybe
yeah.
one day we can work on something together.
I'd love to. I'll reach out.
Yeah, perfect. Any upcoming projects or topics that you're excited about?
Right now, I'm very excited about the newsletter, and I'm very
Mhm.
excited about the program, I guess. Um, and they are basically interconnected since I'm doing the newsletter kind of as a marketing sequence for the program launch. But yeah, the newsletter is gonna be really fun because it's really different. I haven't seen anyone do video-based newsletters, so I'm really excited to see how that turns out. And that's also gonna link with YouTube since I'm doing an unlisted video linking that in the newsletter. So that's gonna funnel into YouTube. So I would say video content and the program is probably what I'm most excited about right now because video content is new and the program is it's like the work of everything I've done since I'm coming up to right now.
And it seems like the content is probably going to cross-pollinate a little bit, like you said, because the newsletter is video-based, so that can go directly to YouTube, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a nice way to drive traffic from my newsletter, which is all pretty. It has like 700, 800 subscribers, so I hope I can get them to the YouTube.
So you have the newsletter right now, and you also have a couple courses. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have lead magnets. I guess they're free. So, but what I'm selling right now is just 60-minute calls. That's it. I'm selling like a consultation calls with people. So that's the only revenue driver I have so far.
And what during these consultation calls, what are you teaching?
It's really different. Like the consultation calls, I don't have a official offer for it. It's basically just that people reach out. They would ask, okay, can I pay you to teach me this? I would say, yeah, sure. And I'll send them a link and they can tell me ask them a bunch of questions which really say basically exactly what they want to learn. But I had one guy, Benjamin Sean, do you know him?
No.
Okay, yeah. He's a creator here on X, and so he reached out and he wanted me to teach him Freds. He tried to make one before, and I think got like 5 to 7K views. And then we hopped on a call and I roasted the shit out of his Fred because it was pretty bad. But I roasted it, and the one he posted yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago or something like that, it got like it's 55K views or something like that. So
wow, dang.
That's gonna be a good case study. I'm probably gonna make a newsletter about that. But yeah, it's just like talking 60 minutes with people, following a framework. I make it on Google Docs, like step 1 vision, and then like step-by-step guide to reach that kind of mission. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Just calls, helping people learn, letting people like pick my brain and helping them actually like move step by step to the goal. That's basically it.
That's great. So it sounds like you kind of have a systematized process for it, but at the same time, it's super custom to whatever the client needs.
Yeah, exactly. It's made so it applies to basically everyone. First is like goal setting, where we talk about a vision, mission, and what they want to like.
Kind of like a discovery call.
Yeah, basically the first like 10 to 15 minutes is that, so I like know what they want to do, and then we move on to actually like strategizing and saying like how do we achieve this, and then at the end we make a super actionable like step-by-step plan on how they can actually reach that. So that's basically the outline for those calls.
And from start to finish, that kind of sounds like an entire program in and of itself. How long does that usually take with your clients?
The standard is like 1 to 2 hours, but I go on for like as long as possible as we need to be honest with these calls.
So sometimes that's scheduling like additional follow-up calls and stuff.
No, it's just one call, but they can go on for longer than the scheduled time.
I see. Cool. And then I'm sure you kind of keep up that relationship afterwards and like check in on them and their growth.
Ask them on Telegram. I'm helping them with any questions they ask and so on.
That's awesome. It's like having a personal coach for that.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
How much are you typically charging for those consulting calls?
They're going now. I sold them for $100 until pretty recently, and where I took them down because it was taking over my it was taking too much time to do these calls for such a low price. Well, not low price, but for like the price compared to the time I put in. And so right now I'm not selling them at all because I want to like rework the pricing, because I'm giving a lot of help. I'm getting like Telegram support for a shit ton of time, and the call with like almost 3 hours. So I'm reworking that, but I'm not too focused on the calls right now because I'm trying to launch this damn program.
Yeah. And if the calls are packed with value, which I'm sure they are, I think you would not have any problem charging more than that, especially considering, like you said, it's 2 to 3 hours of like actual one-on-one time with these people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
great. Okay. I feel like we covered a lot so far. So we'll probably get into the closing thoughts and more of your personal insights.
All
So
right.
for your number one productivity tip or self-improvement habit that you think everyone should adopt.
Ooh, okay, that was good. Actually, this one might sound like counterintuitive to what I said before, but it is actually time boxing, which basically is having a to-do list and a calendar together. I read this super good book about it. It was called Time Boxing, and what it is basically just spending like 10 to 15 minutes every morning is planning out your day with your calendar. But it doesn't have to be perfect, just like a super rough schedule. Just putting out like taking your to-do list first, taking that to-do list and putting them in a time slot on your calendar. So you actually do them on that time. But yeah, I would probably say that planning or yeah, basically planning, I would say probably.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that makes the execution of it so much simpler versus just having a list of things like listed out.
Yeah,
For me,
because
myself, it helped a lot.
yeah, when
Hmm.
you don't have a plan, it's much easier to procrastinate too because you're gonna say, "Oh, I don't have a plan. I don't know." You always come up with this. I say, "I don't know what to do," but I have like a to-do list with like 100 tasks that I need to do.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, it makes it so much harder to procrastinate when you have actually made out a plan. And another one, I know you only said one, but another
Yeah,
one
of
that's
course.
been
As many as you want.
huge, that's been huge for me is having a mission and like zooming out on what you want to achieve. Because so many people are just stuck and say, yeah, I want to improve my life, but they have no idea what they want in life. So how can you improve your life if you don't know what you want to improve on it? So I think just zoom out and see like you only get one take at life. You need to spend this time as best as you possibly can. Just find what are your passion and what are the daily tasks that you need to do to move yourself closer to the not end goal but being better at this passion. Um yeah, that's what I would say. Having a
Yeah.
vision and actually planning to achieve it.
Understanding your why, I think is super
Yeah,
important.
exactly.
Hmm. Especially because there's going to be rough patches and hard times, and that's probably what's going to get you through it. I think that's when most people fall off is when things start to get difficult, and it's because they don't really have a clearly defined why for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention or just talk about in general?
Mm, not that I can think of right now.
Okay. Any questions that you had for me too?
Yeah. I would say, what is this? What's the name of this podcast? I want to check it out.